This is a recorded interview between Detective Senior Constable Matthew Hayes and Gregory O'Flaherty of Unit 621 High Street, Maryborough, conducted at the Maryborough Police Station on Thursday the 3rd of September 2015. Also present is my corroborator, Senior Constable Fleming.
37993.
Gregory, do you agree the time is 3 minutes past 12 on my watch?
Yeah.
Can you state your full name and address, please?
Gregory John O'Flaherty, flat 620 Clarendon Street, Maryborough, Victoria, 3465.
Gregory, I intend to interview you in relation to stalking and breaching of an interim intervention order. Before continuing, I must inform you that you do not have to say or do anything, but anything you say or do may be given in evidence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I must also inform you of your rights. You have the right to communicate with or attempt to communicate with a friend or relative to inform that person of your whereabouts. You have the right to communicate with or attempt to communicate with a legal practitioner. If you are not a citizen or permanent resident of Australia, you have the right to communicate with or attempt to communicate with the consular office of the country of which you are a citizen. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
Do you wish to exercise any of these rights?
I'd like a solicitor present, but you haven't been able to provide one.
We allowed you to speak to one on the phone. Do you agree with that?
Yes, but I can't identify the person I was speaking to on the phone as from legal aid or the Victoria Police.
Is there anyone you would like us to contact to come and sit down the interview with you then?
No, that's fine. I'll sit here by myself.
Are you happy with the legal advice
Yes.
you've got? You're satisfied you've had your chance to have legal advice before the interview?
No.
You're not?
Well, I didn't make the phone call. I don't know who you rang. I do not know who rang that phone back. When the call was hung up, I could have been talking to your mate, the sergeant next door.
Who did the person say they were on the phone?
I don't know, can't remember his
Did they
name.
say
I
that
wasn't
also?
given paper to take a name.
Okay. Have we tried to call your brother?
Yes, but he's working night shift, so I wouldn't wake him again.
Alright. Well, we made that attempt for you.
Yeah,
You agree
yeah.
with that? Yep. What's your age and date of birth?
I'm 57 years old. My date of birth is the 30th of January 1958.
Are you an Australian citizen?
Yes, I was born in Hamilton, Victoria.
Are you a permanent resident here in Australia?
Yes.
Are you of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent?
I don't know, I've never been DNA tested.
Okay. As far as you know, you're not aware that you are?
I've been told I have attachments to the Gungwings Jamara tribe in Victoria South.
So
West-
possibly have some
West.
Aboriginal heritage, is that?
Yeah, whether or not it's true is another thing. I can be told anything.
Okay. Alright, do you agree that around 10 o'clock this morning, myself and two other detectives spoke to you outside the Maryborough Court complex here? And we told you you were under arrest?
Yes.
Yep. And we then conveyed you back to your home address, where we executed a search warrant?
Yes.
Yes. And you got a copy of that search warrant?
Yes.
Yep. And at that premises there, we seized a laptop and an iPad, and also on your arrest, we seized your mobile phone. Do you agree to that?
Yes.
Yep. And then since then, you've been brought back here, and we've made all the attempts for you to speak to a solicitor and tried to contact your brother.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you
led,
agree to all that?
I'm led to believe.
Oh. Now, what in relation to the stalking is in relation to a man by the name of Andrew Kilmartin, who works here as an electoral officer for Louise Staley, who's the MP for Ribbon.
And also works for Southern Cross Austereo as a journalist.
Yes, that's the man we're talking about. Now, he's made a complaint in relation to constant harassment by yourself by phone calls, visiting his work and social media posts since early this year, around February.
I was at the court this morning to attend an application for an interim stalking order under the Magistrates Court Stalking Act 2010. That application had not been granted. I have contested it. It has been set down to be heard next Tuesday. So how can I be arrested for an application that has not been granted as yet? For breaching an order that has not been granted as yet.
You've been arrested for stalking in relation to your course of conduct over the last 6 months around Andrew and his workplace.
Okay, so I send emails to Louise Staley MP, member for Ripon, and visit her office twice asking when I will get responses, and that's stalking Andrew Kilmartin, is it?
There's also the series
I do not agree with your assessment.
Well, that's fine. That's why we're here today, to get your side of everything that's gone on. Andrew's made a statement that says since 2015, you've regularly visited his workplace, left phone messages on the phone, and you've also posted numerous statuses on Facebook and Twitter in relation to him.
I've posted the documents I had shoved under my door by police with his name on it, no court stamps, and the phone calls I've made have been to Louise Staley MP and directed to Louise Staley MP. I've not stalked Andrew Kilmartin. It is only coincidence that he is also, a journalist and her elected officer. I did not know Andrew Kilmartin's name until it was shown to me on police documents when they were shoved under my door, because I refused to open the door for the police.
When was that?
That was Saturday week back, yeah.
Right. Tell me about what happened there with those documents.
Well, the police knocked on my door, 8:30 in the morning, Saturday, woke me up from a nice sleep. I opened the door. Oh, I'm not opening the door for you. And they said, we're here to serve you with an order. And I said, well, it looks like trash to me. They're all loose documents, not secured and not correctly administered. And they shoved them under the door and said, you're served. There you go.
All right.
So I publicly raised the issue of both the being labelled a stalker for requesting responses to emails, and being told by Andrew Kilmartin that the Victorian Parliament Security Section has advised Louise Staley not to respond to any of my correspondence. And I got upset with him, left his office as he stormed out to try to eject me from his office, walked up the street and walked back into his office to ask him, what would you do if a bloke walked into your office with a gun, told you to get on the ground and rob the place, and when you put in a workers' compensation claim to your government employer and police documents were subpoenaed to the Federal Administrative Appeals Tribunal and they were full of errors, and you got bashed by the coppers for pointing out the errors, what would you do? And then I walked out. Andrew Kilmartin followed me up the street saying words. So I took a photo of him outside where he had pursued me. And then I had the police visit not long after to tell me I'm stalking him. Okay?
Handed you put those documents under your door. Did you read the conditions on those documents?
I did.
Yeah. What did they say?
Well, they said a lot of things. Yeah, they said, well, I haven't got any. I'm not an instant record of anything I've read.
No. Would you agree that on them they said they pertain to be a interim personal safety interim intervention order, and the affected person on those documents was Andrew Kilmartin?
Well, they pertain to that, but they weren't correctly administered by the court, so I dispute the fact that they were.
Okay, I understand that, and we've been through that you don't believe it was issued correctly. Those conditions on that paperwork said that you were prevented from committing prohibited behaviour towards Andrew, including harassment, property damage, threats. You were prevented from attempting to locate, follow him or keep him under surveillance. You were prevented from publishing on the internet by email or other electronic communication any material about Andrew. You were prevented from contacting or communicating with him in any means, and you were prevented from approaching or remaining within 10 metres of him or his workplace. Do you recall that being on the paperwork?
I do.
Yes.
But I have not published anything on the internet about Andrew Kilmartin. I've published documents with my name, attacking my name, simply to alert people that Andrew Kilmartin has me in court. The only other pages I've published with his name on are screenshots of his Facebook, which he has published on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay?
So you posted photos of the pages of the interim intervention.
That's right.
That's correct. And you posted a photo taken from his Facebook page onto your
I
Facebook.
screenshot his Facebook page, his
Yeah.
profile.
Right.
Do we know it is Andrew Kilmartin's Facebook page?
Do you recall posting numerous statuses mentioning his name?
Since I've been stalked by him using Magistrates Court Stalking Act.
Since that day the paperwork was put under your door, so Saturday the 22nd, do you recall how many posts you have put on your Facebook page in relation to him that either has a photo or mentions his name?
No idea.
If I was to tell you between Twitter and Facebook, I've come across 65 separate occasions.
Oh, well, there you go. He's wasted your time, hasn't he?
Would that be accurate?
Oh, no idea.
But you have posted statuses mentioning his name, well, along with others, including Louise Staley
And
and other
Vic-
members of Parliament.
Ex-District Inspector of Police
Yes.
Vic Dunn, and the illegal retrospective changes to the Electoral Act made in 2007 to get him out of electoral fraud charges and the monies he siphoned from the Electoral Commission. Yeah, I've done all that.
And your
But is
Facebook,
that stalking?
this is in relation to,
Is this stalking?
it adds up to a course of conduct, yes, which does...
Against Andrew Kilmartin,
Yes.
Louise Staley's electorate officer?
Well, going through, there's 65 separate times you put things on Facebook in relation to him.
Since he started
Since
his
the paperwork was-
since he started stalking.
Or since the paperwork was...
Now,
put on
if there
your
was
door.
a pattern of behaviour, the Victoria Police have used Crimes Family Violence Act, Family Violence Protection Act, and now the Magistrate Stalking Act to restrict my access to the state member for Ripon. And I still haven't got a criminal record.
Well, I'm dealing with today in relation to things in relation to Andrew Kilmartin.
Yeah, okay.
Other than was a Parliament...
I haven't seen Andrew's statement, so I'm not privy to what Andrew has said about me.
Andrew said that since February there's been constant contact by you in phone calls, messages. You've requested he's be your friend on Facebook. You've sent messages to him via Facebook.
Since he made me aware that he's on Facebook
Yeah.
by the documents the police put under my door.
Do you recall putting a status on there on Tuesday last week in relation to what would happen to police the next time they came around to your door with documents?
Whether I'd take a photo of them.
That wasn't the words you used. What
No,
were the
but
words?
I put ice in my drinks and I don't use drugs. Okay?
If I was to say the post read, can someone tell the Victoria Police Commissioner that the next copper who tries to hand me incorrectly administered court documents will be shot? Thanks. Do you recall that?
Oh, I might have been, intoxicated at the time. But the point being, why should I accept incorrectly administered court documents from a police officer and have it claimed as served? Do you investigate crimes committed by Victoria police officers or the court
There's separate
in the administration of the law?
We have separate people who investigate.
Yeah, I know. I've got letters from
police.
I've got letters from the ESD and API.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they investigate
When the
police.
Victoria Police broke me neck, I saw the investigation, mate.
Do you recall posting a status Monday the 24th in relation to a book called Fortunes in Formulas?
Yeah, what about it? It's not a banned book.
No, but it does pertain information in relation to making chemical substances, explosives,
And if you typed in to Google formulas for explosives, you'd get much more updated versions than a 1937 copy of Henley's Fortune in Formulas.
But you have that book at your unit, don't you?
It's not illegal to own that book.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just clarifying.
It's not illegal to post pages on the internet.
What
I've also posted pages about hydatids and how it can infect your brain and send you mad.
With the photo in relation to that book, though, you're going to mention threats and Victoria Parliament and things that have Vic Dunn and things like you've spoken about in the past.
Well, Vic Dunn is the biggest threat to this state since the illegal electoral act changes made in 2007, made to cover the previous election when Vic Dunn, serving District Inspector of Police in this area, ran as Liberal Party candidate for Ripon in breach of the Electoral Act, which barred serving and retired police officers from elected office in any Australian government, state or federal.
What I'm getting at in relation to these posts on social media, Gregory, is that mentioning that you would shoot coppers, whether you meant guns...
Excuse me,
let me finish.
Excuse me, you're asking me for an interview. You're talking about things of the Victoria Police trying to intertwine that into Andrew Kilmartin. Now, am I being arrested over a post about the Victoria Police?
No.
Or Andrew Kilmartin? Or don't ask me questions about posts referring to the Victoria Police that do not include Andrew Kilmartin, okay? I'm not going to answer it or make a fool of you, one or the other, in answering it.
What I'm saying, Gregory, is that over all these posts together, can you see how they would put Andrew in fear of what you may carry out?
He sat within 2 metres of me at Legends Cafe in the street, on the street where they've got their tables set up, 2 days after the last time I went to his office. Okay. Now, I was in company of people I regularly sit at that cafe with, and Andrew Kilmartin sat on the tables opposite us within 2 or 3 metres. Now, if he thought I was such a threat, why did he come within 3 metres of me when he's applying for an order that I'm not allowed to approach him within 10 metres or whatever it is? Now, you've answered your own questions. Am I a threat to him when he comes and sits there to have a coffee after speaking to you blokes about this bloke stalking me and I'm scared? Can I go home now, officer?
If you don't want to be interviewed...
That's the end of the interview.
You don't want to be interviewed.
There's the end of it. Well, and I'd like a transcript and a copy of all of that.
Well, second one, you'll get 2 copies of this interview when you leave today, along with some other paperwork.
Thank you.
So you don't want to answer any more questions?
No, that's a lot.
Oh.
I haven't been stalking him.
Today you're going to be charged with stalking and breaching an interim intervention.
The interim intervention order had not been granted. It's been contested on Tuesday.
The full order's been contested.
How come the Bendigo Prosecutor's Office do not know about this matter? I spoke to them.
It's police application.
Yeah, well, why am I in a police station for an interim order that still has not been granted?
It was issued by the court and served on you on the 27th.
It was an application.
No,
it hasn't been ordered.
The interim order is in place. That's the paperwork you got served. Which means once the paperwork is given to you, it is in effect.
Well, I'm disputing the bloody legality and the administration of it.
And as I said, you will get that.
Why wasn't I given fair warning by either Louise Staley or the Victoria Police that my conduct was frightening to Andrew? And if emailing your representative and asking for a response is stalking her journalist electorate officer, you know, I want to see the evidence of it.
You'll get a copy of the brief of evidence before you get to court. It'll be served on you once it's all put together.
Yeah, no worries.
All right.
Can I go home? I undertake to not approach Andrew or Louise Staley's.
Yeah.
I will not not go out of my way to find Andrew. I wouldn't know where he lives. I don't care where he lives. I will not ring Louise Staley's office. I will post no further mention of him until this matter is cleared up by the court.
I think
that's
a good
my undertaking, all right?
Yeah. Well, we'll get you to sign an undertaking of bail in relation to those conditions.
And I would like the return of my phone and my computer and my iPad immediately, please.
You won't get them immediately. They'll be held here as evidence in relation to these matters.
If I lose any copyrighted detail that I have on those matters,
anything on any of those.
the Victoria Police gain access to my Redbubble account last time they used violence and stalking matters to edit and delete internet content.
Those 3 devices will be retained here at the police station. They will be used as exhibits in relation to these charges. Once it's dealt with at court, they will either be returned to you or destroyed. That is what will happen. I explained that to you earlier, didn't I?
Okay, so will you replace the $20,000 worth of stuff plus the unvaluable copyright, poetry, art design like that? Is that a club patch or anything? That's my artwork. Are you going to delete that?
I will not erase anything from the devices. They will stay here. If we make application at court to have them destroyed, you will get a chance to dispute that application and apply to have them returned to you.
Yeah.
I haven't said that is the case. There are my 2 options.
Yeah, right.
They either get returned to you or they get destroyed.
Yeah, right.
But it's after these matters are finalised at court.
Yeah, no, all right.
So that's what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I said, you've been charged today. You don't have to say or do anything unless you wish to do so, but whatever you say or do may be recorded and given in evidence. Do you understand this?
Yes, can you tell me now what I am being charged with? What act I am being charged with under?
There's 1 count of stalking, and then
Under
there's
what act?
whatever, I believe it's stalking under the Crimes Act. Section
No,
20.
What am I being charged
It'll
with?
be on the, I'll explain to you when I print them out. You'll get a copy
Okay.
of the charges,
So
you'll
you're
have the
not-
section numbers.
You're not sure what I'm being charged with?
You've got 1 count of stalking, and I'm pretty sure it's under the Crimes Act.
Well, you should be sure before you sit me down, mate.
We're going around in circles here.
Well, you should be.
And
You
there'll be-
got me in to charge me, but you don't know what act you're going to charge me under. That's what you just admitted to.
I did.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm pretty sure it's in.
You're pretty sure?
But it'll be printed out
Yeah.
on your copy of your
Yeah,
charges,
you go for it.
and it'll be on there.
Okay,
Along
thanks.
with the 65 counts of breaching an interim intervention order,
Well,
under the Personal Protection Act.
well, make sure you list each 65 of them in detail as to how I have.
They will be. And then you'll get a copy of the brief of evidence down the track before you get to court, as I've explained.
Will I get a copy of Andrew's statement?
Yes, that'll be in the
What
brief.
about Louise Staley's
She
statement?
hasn't made a statement.
Well, she should. I was using her, I was directing messages to her and visiting her workplace.
This is in relation to conduct around Andrew Kilmartin. Phone calls and emails sent to her don't constitute the breaches of the order.
So me, if I walked in here and spoke to you, the Victoria Police wouldn't be on me back, it'd be you on me back, would it?
Speak to me about what?
Anything.
You don't have to speak to me about anything you like.
That's right. I've gone to Louise Staley, State Member for Rippon's electoral office to inquire as to will I get responses to emails directed to Louise Staley through her advertised emailing address, and the bloke standing behind the counter, no mate, you're not getting a response. The Victoria Parliament reckon you're a security threat, and I'm at his office stalking him.
You'll get this opportunity when you get to court to explain.
Yeah, Norris.
And I said the magistrate will go through your concerns about whether the interim order was in place or not.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you just said that.
Well, I said your concerns. I have no concerns. As far as I'm concerned, it was served and it's in place.
Yeah, but the magistrate would have to deliberate on whether it was or not.
Yeah, if you've got concerns, they'll
Yeah,
examine
because the
process.
magistrate hasn't granted the interim order in the first place.
No, the registrar
That's
did.
right. That's right. And the registrar hasn't got the power to grant an interim order.
I'll double check.
The
I've got it in front of me.
registrar is only there to stamp and receive, hand out.
No, it was issued by Magistrate Jennifer Tregent.
When was that?
Doesn't have you on the 20th of the 8th. And then it was served on you on the 22nd of
That document was not served on me, and the
No, this is not the order. This is a certified extract from the court.
none of the documents served on me were typed on documents like that.
No.
None of them mentioned a magistrate's name, or the application had been granted.
This is a certified extract I obtained
Yeah,
from the court in relation to.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Who certified it for you? One of the local officers?
The registrar of the court.
Okay. I've got her real signature on a previous court document with the court stamp and the court register's line stamp placed on the documents, which none of these lot of documents have.
Now, Greg, I'm wasting my time going
I
through
know,
fingerprint
yeah.
information with you.
Here you go.
Oh. You said you're going to be charged with those offences today. Your fingerprints are required for the purposes of identification. Your fingerprints may be used in evidence at court. If you refuse to give your fingerprints voluntarily, a member of the police force may use reasonable force to obtain them. If you are not charged with a relevant offence within 6 months, or you are so charged but the charge is not proceeded with, or you are not found guilty of the offence or any other relevant offence before the end of that 6 months, then the fingerprints will be destroyed.
My fingerprints have been on register since 1977, when I was first inducted into the Office of the Crown at the Reserve Bank building in Melbourne, where they took seals of integrity, which included fingerprints, nail clippings, hair, saliva and blood, just to make sure me as a good Crown officer was not only identifiable when dead, but was identifiable if he committed a crime. And I'm 57 and still haven't got a criminal record.
Do you understand all that fingerprint information I've just gone through?
Yeah, I understand it.
You've obviously just made a comment on that. Do you wish to do you consent to giving your fingerprints today?
Yeah, why don't you photocopy it? It'd save ink and it'd be a lot quicker and more detailed. It wouldn't be smudged.
They'll be taken on a piece of paper with ink today. And as I said, explain to you, if you're not charged or the charges are just not found guilty of those offences, then they get destroyed.
Yeah.
We're going to finish up then. Do you agree it's 31 minutes past 12 by my watch?
Yeah, that's about mine too.